Hi, welcome to Life Skills with Louie. I am Louie. Today we're talking about the resilience skill of building mastery. If you haven't watched the introduction to the section on responding to gaps in resilience, please do so. And if you haven't watched the two introductions to getting to great, one about mapping your experience and the other about responding to your experience, I encourage you to do that, because this process of awareness and response is the essence of self-care and this section getting to great. And finally, if you haven't watched the introduction to the entire video series, please do that in order to understand how to orient yourself to the 5 sections, especially if you're new or feeling a little lost. So, to talk about building mastery. Building mastery is a critical skill. It's used in a type of therapy called behavioral activation for depression. And so getting good at the skill helps to make you more resilient from depression. And I learned about it in dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, and then have used it and thought a lot about it for myself and for others, and come up with kind of the core aspects of it that I think are key for people to know about and practice. This is obviously something you can talk with your therapist about. You can find a lot more material online. This is a primer to get you started. So building mastery is all about the feeling in the body, the visceral feeling of accomplishment, which hopefully many of you have had that feeling at some point. And if you haven't or can't remember that feeling, hopefully you get to have it soon. The feeling of accomplishment comes from just riding your edge. Another word for this that's used that you can research is a zone of proximal development. But I'm going to explain a little more simply. Your edge is the area where you're just pushing yourself a bit. Not pushing yourself too little so that you're in a comfort zone, too much in a comfort zone. Not pushing yourself too much that you're in a zone of burnout or failure, but just pushing yourself enough. This edge will change day to day. It could change hour to hour. There is a book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements, and one of the agreements is do your best. That's the essence of this. It is very powerful to do your best, be at this edge. And when you push yourself just a little bit and you do your best, you get this feeling of accomplishment. Yeah, I did my best today. And I did my best in this moment. And one day your best is here. And then the next day, your best is here. And concretely, what that might look like is one day you're really in a depression and your best is showering. And then another day or another week, you are feeling much better and your best is doing a presentation in front of staff at your work. So you have to learn to gauge what is truly your best. And people will slingshot between the two, comfort zone and too much, comfort zone and too much. Getting to this middle is a really powerful part of this practice of building mastery, feeling the sense of accomplishment. So that is the first key, is learning what your best is and doing your best. There is, however, a second key, which is that you have to actually recognize yourself. So if you do your best and then you have a strong voice inside of your mind that says, that was nothing, that was ridiculous that you're calling that your best, but it truly is your best, you need to perhaps do some cognitive restructuring, some accuracy or dialogue restructuring. You can look at those in the same Getting to Great section in order to understand those a little more, to see why that part of you is treating you in that way. I'm sure there's a reason for it, and restructuring it so that you can give yourself the credit for doing your best. And this is incredibly powerful to have this feeling of accomplishment, and we all need this for our basic morale. And if you don't have it, there's, I'm sure, a good reason why you don't have it. It probably didn't exist in your family of origin. And so they couldn't give it to you and instead did to you what they'd done to themselves. And that same kind of, expecting too much and then never giving credit, or expecting very little and then never giving credit. So this skill of building mastery is one to work on for sure, as they really all are. I love them all. And I encourage you to practice it. Please look for more. Again, dialectical behavioral therapy has handouts on building mastery. You can also find information about building mastery and finding the feeling of accomplishment online and in books and working with a therapist. And learning this is essential for your well-being.